What is up, my friends? Welcome back to Flippin' Bats. We are back here in Los Angeles. I just had a week-long vacation up in northern Michigan, and that was awesome. But still did an episode there, still talked to John Smoltz there, and now we're back in Los Angeles. And today, we're going to talk about Aaron Judge, what he's doing. We're going to talk about the Diamondbacks. We're going to talk about Shohei and what he's doing. It is hot and heavy in baseball right now. September is right around the corner. These races are wild, starting to take shape a little bit. But as we get close to September with these three wild cards, it is going to be absolute chaos. So excited to talk about that. I just briefly to talk about this trip I just had. It was unbelievable. Went up to northern Michigan. If you've never been there, absolutely beautiful. Went out on a charter boat, went fishing out there, caught about a 25-pound king salmon, somewhere between, I don't want to exaggerate, somewhere between 20 and 25 pounds, I was told. Went with, if you didn't hear last episode, I went with my girlfriend and her family, and it was just unbelievable. Had the best time up there, and ended up having some travel issues on the way back home. We were supposed to leave a day earlier, but ended up spending an extra day up there because of some flight issues. But we are back here in Los Angeles now. What a week it's been. You have Shohei doing his thing, getting 40-40. We'll talk about that. Aaron Judge just on an absolute tear right now. He's absolutely unconscious. Let's start with that. Let's start with Aaron Judge. And a conversation I want to have, and I'm going to answer at the end, is Aaron Judge is the best hitter since who? Aaron Judge is the best hitter since ... question mark. I want to know your answer. I'm going to give you mine. Aaron Judge leads Major League Baseball right now with 51 homers. He leads Major League Baseball with 122 RBIs. He leads Major League Baseball in on-base percentage at 465, leads Major League Baseball in slugging at 736, and he's second in all of baseball in batting average at 333. Aaron Judge has an OPS of 1.202 for the season. Let's not forget he started off this year terrible. And to have these numbers right now, I don't even forget the start. Where he is right now is unbelievable. It's arguably one of the greatest offensive seasons I've ever seen. We'll talk about it. He has a WRC plus of 227, which would rank 6th all time in a single season if it were to end right now. Number one on that list, Barry Bonds in 2002 had an OPS a WRC plus of 244. Number two, Babe Ruth in 1920, 237. Barry Bonds, number three in 2001, a WRC plus of 234. Number four, again, Barry Bonds for the third time in 2004 with a WRC plus of 233. And number five, Babe Ruth in 1923 with a WRC plus of 230. Aaron Judge would be the 6th highest of all time. Again, WRC plus, an average MLB hitter. MLB average is 100. So 200 would be 100% better than MLB average. He is well over that. He is 127% better than MLB average. What we are seeing right now isn't just historically good. You can say historically good about a lot of things. What we are seeing right now from Aaron Judge is one of the most impressive things that has ever happened in the game of baseball. He's sitting at those 51 homers. He has 308 in his career now, which is 29 more than anyone in history has in their first 1,000 games. And he's not even close to that mark yet. He's at 964 and already has 29 more homers than anybody in their first 1,000 games. So he's currently on pace right now with those 51 homers as we're recording later in the day on Monday. 51 homers. He is on pace to break his own AL home run record, which he set 2 years ago in 2022, which is 62 homers. He's on pace right now to hit 63. Mind you, the brutal start to the season, the really slow start, he is on an absolute ferocious tear right now. What Aaron Judge is doing. Juan Soto is hitting 300 with almost 40 homers and an on-base percentage through the roof, as it always is, leads the American League in walks. He's a career high in homers, and we're not even really talking about him. And I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying it's because what Aaron Judge is doing is so good, it doesn't matter what anyone else in the league, in the American League, is doing. So, the question I want to propose to everyone is, Aaron Judge is the best hitter since who? And my answer is that Aaron Judge is the best hitter since Barry Bonds. Now, I've been very vocal about the fact that I think Barry Bonds is the greatest hitter of all time. I've also been vocal about understanding that he used steroids, right? I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying that it was right. I'm just acknowledging that he's the greatest hitter of all time, in my opinion. So there's that conversation. We just talked about the top 5 WRC plus seasons of all time. Barry Bonds has 3 of them, and Babe Ruth has the other 2. So for me, Aaron Judge is the best hitter since Barry Bonds. Now I want to have an Albert Pujols conversation, because from the seasons 2001 to 2011, that is arguably the best 10-year stretch in the history of baseball for an offensive player. And at least, let me take that back. From 2001 to 2011, what Albert Pujols did was the best 10-year stretch that has happened in my lifetime. And if we're talking 10-year stretch, I'm going to take Albert Pujols over Aaron Judge. But what I'm talking about is the peak that we have seen from Aaron Judge. The peak that we are right in the middle of with him from 2022 to right now. Is it a 10-year stretch? No, but in that stretch, he's the greatest hitter I've seen since Barry Bonds. And if I want to take that a step further and we want to take steroids out of it and say, you know what? That was enhanced with Barry Bonds, whether you want to count the stats or not, what I'm going to do right now is take that out. Let's say Barry Bonds isn't in the equation. The best hitter without using any substance since, I would say Aaron Judge is the best hitter since Ted Williams in that aspect. With this peak that we're seeing right now. I mean, I honestly don't know if we're talking about it enough, what he's doing. I mean, 2022 breaks the AL home run record. 2024, he's on pace to break his own record. And he's hitting 333 on the year. He's got the second best batting average in all of baseball. This is one of the best hitters of all time. The best hitter without steroids in my lifetime, this peak we're seeing right now. And in my mind, it is the best hitter that I have ever seen besides Barry Bonds. What an unbelievable year he is having. I want to know, we obviously put all these clips out everywhere. If you're listening on YouTube, I want you to comment right now who you think the best hitter, Aaron Judge is the best hitter since who? If you're watching this clip on social media, Aaron Judge is the best hitter since who? I want to hear your answers. I'd love to debate about this. I'm not claiming to know this is the answer. I'm not saying this is the answer. This is my answer, and I would love to debate about it. Best hitter since Barry Bonds, best hitter without steroids since Ted Williams over this current stretch that he's on. So Aaron Judge and the Yankees are absolutely rolling. Juan Soto is doing his thing as well in the American League. On the National League side of things, let's talk about Showtime. Shohei Ohtani. I told every single one of you at the beginning of the year that Shohei Ohtani this season, I said, that man is going to go 40-40. He's going to become the 6th player of all time to go 40-40 in a Major League Baseball season. Well, he did it before September. He did it in late August, and he did it with a grand slam, a walk-off grand slam. Are you kidding me? This stuff shouldn't exist. I know I just talked about Aaron Judge, and I know I just said Aaron Judge is the best hitter I've seen since Barry Bonds. But I'm going to sit here right now and say Shohei Ohtani is hands down the greatest player of all time. Let's flash back to August 23rd. August 23rd, 2023. Shohei Ohtani tore his UCL. Fast forward, August 23rd, the same day, 1 year later, Shohei Ohtani hit a walk-off grand slam to become the 6th member ever of the 40-40 club. Ever. And he's the earliest in a season to do it by far. Listen to this. In 1996, Barry Bonds did it in 158 games. Again, the club is short. It's small. There's only been 5 members before Shohei. Barry Bonds, A-Rod, Ronald Acuna Jr., Jose Canseco, and Alfonso Soriano. Barry Bonds in 96 did it in 158 games. A-Rod in 1998 did it in 153 games. Ronald Acuna Jr. in 2023 did it in 152. Jose Canseco in 1988 did it in 151 games. Alfonso Soriano in 06 did it in 147 games. And Shohei Ohtani, the 6th ever member of the 40-40 club, did it in 126 games. Now, I know we're going to sit here and argue, and everybody's going to say, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but everyone is going to say the 40-40 club is so much easier to get to now. The bases are bigger. The base paths are smaller. There's rules on how many times you can pick over. I hear you. The stolen base is absolutely easier to achieve. But let's talk about the homers. Homers are harder to hit. Pitchers are throwing harder. Pitchers are throwing 105 miles an hour with the highest spin rate of all time, with the best off-speed pitches of all time. Batting average is at an all-time low. So sure, stealing bases is easier, but hitting homers is harder. But forget 40-40 for Shohei. Forget that number. He's did it. He did it. He's done that. He's currently on pace to finish with exactly 50 in both categories. 50 homers, 50 stolen bases. Shohei Ohtani would be the first player in the history of baseball to go 50-50 in a season if he did that. And what's crazy, after all that, he hit that walk-off grand slam to enter the 40-40 club, the stuff that movies are made out of. And he did all of that. And the very next day, he was out on the mound, throwing a bullpen, throwing off of the mound for the first time since his UCL surgery. This is the greatest baseball player of all time. Are you kidding me? And I don't want to have the conversation, right? I've had it so many times. I always end up going down a rabbit hole of how can you say this about Aaron Judge, but then say this about Shohei? Aaron Judge is the greatest hitter Aaron Judge is the greatest hitter I've seen since Barry Bonds. Shohei Ohtani is the greatest baseball player of all time. Both of those are true. Shohei Ohtani is having an absolutely incredible offensive season. He also pitches at an elite level, at an all-star level in baseball, at a Cy Young level in baseball. If he didn't get hurt last year, I mean, there's an argument for Cy Young. There's always been an argument for Cy Young for him. So we're talking one of the best hitters in baseball, one of the greatest offensive players of all time, we can now say, with him entering the 40-40 club, and one of the best pitchers in baseball. That has never happened. Shohei is the greatest baseball player that we have ever seen. He's currently second in both homers and stolen bases in all of Major League Baseball. He's second in both. The players to finish a season top 2 in Major League Baseball in both home runs and stolen bases. In 1908, Honus Wagner did it. And in 1909, Ty Cobb did it. That's it. If the season ended right now, 2024 Shohei Ohtani is on that list. I sat here. I was adamant about it before the year. I know I always talk about Shohei and I talk about how good he is. And oh no, he's not pitching this year. Yeah, you know what? That sucks. But I called it the second it happened. Shohei's going to steal a bunch of bases. I think Shohei Ohtani is going to go 40-40 this year. And everyone points to his numbers and say, well, seriously, he's never come close to that in stolen bases. I didn't care. I knew what he was going to do with him not pitching this year. And he's just able to maximize his talent on the offensive side. And I think, and I said this a month ago and was sort of laughed at, I said, I think Shohei's going to get to 40-40. In fact, I think he might even get to 50-50. People are like, okay, pump the brakes. 50-50 never happened. I could see 40-40 happening. Well, he's there with over a month to go in the season, and Shohei is coming closer and closer and closer to that 50-50 mark. And he would be the first player in the history of baseball to do that. Absolutely incredible what he's doing. And I don't take it for granted. I every time I talk about him and what he's doing, I'm so grateful to be the first person in the United States to sit down and talk to Shohei Ohtani and interview him for an hour. Absolutely incredible. I am going to look back on those moments and tell my future kids, hopefully my future kids, hopefully my future grandkids of what I was able to do with, in my opinion, the greatest player of all time. It is absolutely remarkable what he's doing. Dodgers are really hot out there in the NL West. We'll talk more about them in power rankings. We'll also talk more in power rankings about the hottest team in baseball, the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's right. The Arizona Diamondbacks are the hottest team in baseball. What if I were to ask you, all of you, what team in Major League Baseball has scored the most runs in 2024? Where would you think the Arizona Diamondbacks rank amongst teams that have scored the most runs in 2024? Well, it's not the Phillies. It's not the Yankees. It's not the Orioles. The Arizona Diamondbacks lead all of Major League Baseball in runs scored as I speak with 701 runs. That is 32 runs ahead of the second place team, the New York Yankees. The Dodgers in their own division are second in the National League at 648. 53 more runs scored than the next closest NL team. Absolutely remarkable. They've won 24 of their last 30 games. They've been the hottest team in baseball since the beginning of June. The NL West is absolutely rolling right now, and the Diamondbacks have found a way to claw closer and closer and closer. They're only 3.5 games out. In the last 20 games, the D-backs are 15-5. Dodgers are 14-6. Padres are 14-6. But since June 1, there's nobody in baseball better than the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, there's a real argument. In fact, I could say this is the 2024 Arizona Diamondbacks are the best offense in franchise history. Now, if you really dive into the numbers, which I did, so nobody has to, they are statistically second best in franchise history right now, behind that 0-1 team that beat the Yankees in the World Series, Tony Womack, Luis Gonzalez, that crew. They're the second best behind them. But why I say that this is the best is because that was pre-humidor in Arizona, in that ballpark. Chase Field used to be a home run paradise. Now Chase Field is a bottom 10 ballpark in Major League Baseball for home runs. So, if you look at the advanced analytics and park adjusted, OPS plus and park adjusted weighted run, all that stuff you can look at, this offense right here for the Arizona Diamondbacks is the best in franchise history. And forget the playoffs. I mean, I know they were struggling to get to 500 for a long time in the year and just never got going. Forget making the playoffs. The Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres, but specifically for this, the Arizona Diamondbacks are trying to win the National League West, and they have got hot on the heels of the Los Angeles Dodgers. They have been the best team in baseball for a couple of months now, and deserve a lot more credit than they are getting. So where am I putting them in my power rankings? Well, it is the first episode of the week. Power rankings are back. If you didn't see them on Monday, they always come out on social media on Monday, and then we talk about them Tuesday. Again, this is power rankings 10 through 1. It is not standings. It is not the current standings. If you want that, Google it. Open up the MLB app and go look at standings. This is power rankings. And it's not just the current form. It's not just the last week. It's not the last 10 games. It's over the course of the season. So as we get as far in as we are now, things are going to slow down a bit. We're not going to see this massive movement that we see at the beginning of the year, because there's teams that have been at the top all year long that might not be playing great that deserve to get bumped down a little bit, but they ain't going to go super far. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk top 10, and we're going to start at number 10 with those San Diego Padres. I moved them down one spot from where they were last week. They're 74-58 on the year, 5-5 in their last 10. So they're just playing okay. They did win 2 out of 3 against Minnesota. Then they split with the New York Mets. Right now in a pennant race, you can't split that series with the Mets at home in San Diego. Luckily, they came away with a split. Jackson Merrill doing what Jackson Merrill does best and hitting that huge late homer for them to end up splitting that series. Anyway, Padres have been good over the last few weeks, but over the last week and specifically last 10 games, just so-so. I did bump them one down because there's a couple teams that I ended up bumping up. At number 9, I'm going the Houston Astros. Again, down one spot from where they were last week, from 8 to 9. They're 70-60. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They lost 2 of 3 to Boston, and then they split with Baltimore. So I did move them down one. I think if we're talking current form, since the All-Star break, obviously the Astros are way better than that. But since the All-Star break, they have crept up and more into these power rankings and have been sitting there anywhere from 6 to 10 of late. So let's move on to number 8. Up 2 spots to number 8, the Kansas City Royals, 72-58, 7-3 in their last 10. They won 2 of 3 against the Angels. They did lose 2 of 3 to Philly, but a very good team there with the Phillies. The Royals have been fantastic of late and are really pushing hard for a playoff spot. Absolutely. Bumped them up because I think they're playing really well right now. Again, 7-3 in their last 10. Let's move on to number 7. This is where I have the Arizona Diamondbacks currently. They were not ranked last week, so this is a pretty big bump up in the power rankings. They're 7-3 in their last 10, 15-5 in their last 20. Best record in baseball since June 1st. Prior to that, I don't know where they were in the power ranks, but not in the top 10. They did get into the top 10, bumped out after like a few games of a bad stretch, but now they're back in big time here at number 7. They swept the Marlins, swept Miami, and then swept Boston. They won every single game this week. Best team last week. Best team in Major League Baseball since June 1st again. So I do have them here at number 7 for what they're currently doing. At number 6, at 75-55, the Cleveland Guardians. I did keep them put. No huge movement for them. No movement at all, I might say. 4-6 in their last 10. They lost 2 of 3 to the Yankees, then won 2 of 3 against the Rangers. They've been one of the best teams in baseball all year. Not as good of late, though. So they're in danger of falling a bit lower. But again, kept them here at 6 with what they've done over the course of the season. Obviously, a 75 wins, tied in the win column with the Diamondbacks, but one less loss. Again, overall record doesn't necessarily factor in, but kept the Guardians here at 6. Let's go to the top 5. Down one spot from where they were last week, the Milwaukee Brewers, also 75-55, 7-3 in their last 10 games. This week, they lost 2 of 3 to St. Louis, won 2 of 3 against Oakland. Nothing crazy. They have been one of the best teams in baseball since that June 1st mark for a few months. The Brewers are going to win the NL Central. They're the only team that has really run away with the division. They have a massive lead there. Brew Crew winning the NL Central. They kick off the top 5. At number 4, up a spot, the Philadelphia Phillies, 76-54, 6-4 in their last 10. They did lose 2 of 3 to the Braves. Then they won 2 of 3 against the Phillies again, or not against the Phillies. They won 2 of 3 on their weekend series. So they're playing much better. Look, the Phillies have been one of the best teams in baseball over the course of the season, but of late, not quite as good, but picking it up a little bit. Move them up one spot to number 4. Down to number 3, down 2 spots. The Baltimore Orioles. 4-6 in their last 10. They lost 2 of 3 to the Mets. Then they split with Houston. Haven't been playing very well. I kept them there at the top because nobody was really taking the reins. But now I've bumped them down 2 spots. Playing okay, not great. Pretty poor baseball for them over the last month or so. So I have the Orioles at number 3. At number 2, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They are 78-53. They won 2 of 3 against Tampa Bay. They swept the first series of the week. They've been absolutely in fuego since Mookie Betts came back. Now they have all their squad in the lineup. They're studs. Mookie, Shohei, Freddie Freeman playing really well. Pitchers are starting to get healthier. So obviously Shohei entering the 40-40 club with that walk-off grand slam. Vibes are high for the Los Angeles Dodgers right now. And they're sitting here at 78 wins, the most wins in all of baseball. But at number 1, up 1 spot, I do have the New York Yankees, 77-54, the best record in the American League. Really grabbed control of the American League East. They won 2 of 3 against Cleveland. They won 2 of 3 against Colorado. They're playing really well. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are doing things that have never been done before in the game of baseball. They're the best 1-2 punch in Major League Baseball. They're one of the best 1-2 punches of all time. I mean, seriously, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are a top 3 1-2 punch of all time. Absolutely. So Yankees are playing well. Dodgers are hot on their heels. I really struggled with that 1 and 2, but with the Orioles playing poorly, I bumped both of those teams up 1. But the Dodgers, if you're anywhere, if you can inch closer to a team, if it's possible to inch closer and narrow the gap from where you were, the gap was 1. The Yankees and Dodgers were 2 and 3. Now they're 1 and 2, but the Dodgers have narrowed that gap with the Yankees. I think they're neck and neck. And if the Dodgers have another good week, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they are number 1 in my power rankings next week. I know many of you are going to say now the Dodgers should be number 1. I really like what the Yankees are doing offensively right now. And I think they should still be in that top spot for right now. So that's my top 10. Padres at 10. Astros, Royals, D-backs. Best team in baseball since June 1. Guardians, Brewers, Phillies, Orioles, Dodgers, and Yankees. That rounds out the top 10 for this week. What a crazy week in baseball. I go to Michigan and absolute craziness happens in baseball. Aaron Judge going off. Shohei Ohtani hitting walk-off grand slams to enter the 40-40 club. You got Dylan Cruz making his debut this week, Monday. Dylan Cruz made his debut. What else do we got? We got a catcher, Danny Jansen, playing for the same Major League Baseball team in both games. If you didn't hear about that, obviously was with the Blue Jays. Now he's with the Red Sox, but the game was postponed until Monday. But he started that game. He was a catcher for the Blue Jays. And then it was actually his turn to bat when the game was called. Then they picked back up the game. He's now on the Red Sox. He's now catching. He got pinch hit for, and he's behind the plate, and he becomes the first player in Major League Baseball history to play for both teams in the same game. We got that going on. Just a lot of craziness around baseball. But thank you all for listening, as always. Happy to be back in LA. Happy to be back where I always film, and just make sure you're subscribed and listening. Got John Smoltz, as we do every single Saturday. If you didn't listen to Saturday with Smoltz last week, go listen to it. We did in the earlier episode in the week talked about the 6-inning minimum rule that is being talked about in baseball. Had to ask Smoltz about it. Should starting pitchers have to go 6 innings or else you lose your DH? So was really interested in his philosophy, because obviously he wants starting pitchers to go deeper into games. But what do you do in this day and age? They're not doing it. How do you do it? Do you like this idea? So go listen to Saturday with Smoltz if you haven't. Thank you all for listening to this one. Saturday with Smoltz coming again at the end of this week. But please make sure you're subscribed, following wherever you're currently listening. Hit that plus, follow, subscribe button, whatever. It's all free. And leave a 5-star review. That does really help. And if you want to watch, you can watch on Spotify. You can watch on our YouTube channel, Flippin' Bats Pod there. And we're on all social media, Flippin' Bats Pod on everything. But It means the world to me that you all listen. This is the best crew in the world, and I absolutely love talking baseball with you all. Seriously, it is my passion in life, and you guys listening means the absolute world. So thank you. And until next time, my friends, remember, find your bat and flip it.